The Spring and Autumn Period, the collapse of Zhou ritual code, and the rise of Five Hegemons, how turbulence forged the foundation of Chinese civilization. Chapter 1. Most overseas history enthusiasts perceive the Spring and Autumn period merely as endless wars waged by five regional hegemons and the birth of numerous ancient Chinese philosophical schools. A mainstream view holds that the Zhou king degraded into a symbolic figurehead while the complete Zhou ritual code collapsed entirely, leaving nothing but prolonged conflicts across centuries. In fact, the Spring and Autumn turbulence was never a barbaric age of reckless warfare. Though superficial ritual order disintegrated, ritual morality remained the unspoken bottom line for military conflicts among vassal states. Regional hegemons maintained local order under the political banner of uphold the Zhou court and resist nomadic invaders. Beyond warfare, earth institutions, social classes, and ideological culture experienced structural transformations. The rigid aristocratic hierarchy of Western Zhou gradually dissolved, and civilian-born she-scholar officials stepped onto the historical arena, laying solid ground for the germination of diversified Chinese thoughts amid social unrest. Combining bronze inscriptions, textual records from Zhuo and Eastern Zhou archaeological sites, this documentary answers three core historical questions. How did the powerless Zhou royal house survive for hundreds of years? Was hegemonic expansion driven purely by territorial greed, or an objective remedy for the vacuum of public order? Why did social turbulence nurture the most splendid ideological system in Chinese history? Supplementary note: the Zhou ritual code was far more than daily etiquette and sacrificial customs. It functioned as a complete national governance system that regulated social stratification, military campaigns, tax revenue, and sacrificial norms. The collapse of rituals equated to the overall failure of the Western Zhou central governance system. The royal court lost administrative power, yet the spirit of ritual inheritance endured. Turbulent landscapes constructed the millennial ideological foundation of Chinese civilization. Chapter 2. In 770 BCE, King Ping moved the royal capital eastward to Luoyang, marking the official end of Western Zhou. The Eastern Zhou dynasty was divided into the Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States period. The Spring and Autumn period ended in 476 BCE, lasting for nearly 300 years. The Zhou royal family only governed a tiny territory around Luoyang, with military and financial strength inferior to medium-sized vassal states. The top-down enfofment order, controlled by the Zhou king, was replaced with a regional system maintained by successive hegemons. Horizontal comparison with contemporary global civilizations. In the early Spring and Autumn period, Greek city-state civilization rose, and Homer's epics was finalized. The Persian Achaemenid dynasty gradually unified West Asia. 16 major kingdoms in ancient India fell into continuous conflicts. Meanwhile, ancient Greek civilization developed under decentralized city-state politics, while Persia expanded its territory via military conquest. Despite wars among Chinese vassal states, writing systems, ritual cores, urban layouts, and handicraft industries retained unified cultural genes without civilizational interruption, which is an exclusive core feature of China's enduring civilization. Western Zhou laid the foundation of Chinese civilization via stable institutions, while the Spring and Autumn period dismantled outdated frameworks and restructured civilizational frameworks. All structural flaws of the old regime were exposed, revised, and reshaped during these 300 years of unrest. Territories split into fragmented political forces, while cultural lineage remained integrated. Political systems suffered repeated breakdowns, yet cultural heritage passed down endlessly. Chapter 3. Dynastic Changes. Order collapse after Eastern capital relocation. Haojing was burned down in warfare, and the Guanzhong heartland was occupied by Guanrong tribes. King Ping's eastward migration deprived the royal house of fertile core lands for survival. The sharp shrinkage of directly ruled territory led to a drastic drop in royal tax revenue, making it impossible for the Zhou court to maintain a standing royal army. The balanced governance mechanism of vassal tribute and royal dispute arbitration completely failed. Vassal lords stopped regular tributary visits and resolved territorial conflicts through military force. The supreme rule that only the Son of Heaven could authorize rituals and military expeditions was gradually replaced with independent military actions initiated by regional lords. Working mechanism of the well-field system. Lands were divided into 9 square grids. Farmers had to cultivate public lands for aristocrats free of charge before farming their private plots. After iron farm tools and cattle plowing became prevalent, local residents reclaimed large areas of wildlands privately, collapsing the original land bondage system based on public land cultivation. The economic foundation shook, and the entire Western Zhou aristocratic ruling structure disintegrated from top to bottom. The Battle of Shujie marked the landmark collapse of ritual norms. Duke Zhuang of Zheng's troops wounded the Zhou king with an arrow, shattering the last political prestige of the royal house. All vassals fully recognized the Zhou court's weakness, officially kicking off the era of hegemonic competition. The Battle of Shujie destroyed the Zhou king's military supremacy, and the private reclamation of wasteland undermined the fiscal foundation supporting Western Zhou governance from the grassroots level. Chapter 4. Succession of the 5 Spring and Autumn Hegemons. 2 widely recognized versions of the 5 Hegemons exist in academia. Records of the Grand Historian lists Duke Huan of Qi, Duke Wen of Jin, Duke Mu of Qin, King Zhuang of Chu, and Duke Xiang of Song. The version from Xunzi replaces Duke Xiang of Song with King Helu of Wu and King Gujian of Yue. Duke Huan of Qi appointed Guanzhong to implement comprehensive reforms, restructuring domestic administration, nationalizing salt production, optimizing commercial tax policies to enrich state finance. Holding high the banner of "Uphold the Zhou court and resist nomadic invaders," he defended northern borders against nomadic intrusions and restrained Chu's outward expansion, becoming the first universally acknowledged hegemon of the Spring and Autumn period. Guanzhong's reform was not China's earliest national management system, but the earliest recorded systematic national economic governance plan, combining market regulation and state monopoly in Chinese historical documents. Duke Xiang of Song adhered rigidly to early spring and autumn battlefield rituals and suffered a crushing defeat, embodying the tragic idealism of outdated ritual systems amid social unrest. After 19 years of exile and hardships, Duke Wen of Jin restructured military and political systems after ascending the throne. He defeated Chu troops in the Battle of Chengpu, hosted the Jianshu alliance, and obtained official recognition from the Zhou king, making him a hegemon with both legal legitimacy and overwhelming military strength. King Zhuang of Chu rose after years of dormancy, expanding Chu's influence into the Central Plains and eliminating the regional prejudice held by central states against southern Chu. Duke Mu of Qin pacified multiple western nomadic tribes, stabilizing Qin's western territory and accumulating initial geographical and demographic advantages for Qin's rise in the Warring States period. Hegemon-led interstate alliances were not reckless annexation wars. Participating states signed armistice agreements, demarcated territorial borders, and mediated interstate conflicts. While the Zhou royal house lost national governing capacity, hegemons objectively functioned as Administrators, maintaining regional public order. Chapter 5. Internal division, ministerial clan usurpation, and the rise of Shi scholar official stratum. While external lords competed for hegemony, internal power continuously shifted downwards within every state. Monarchic power was seized and divided by hereditary ministerial clans. 6 major clans in Jin, 3 aristocratic clans in Lu, and the Tian clan in Qi sequentially controlled court affairs, military forces, and land resources, reducing domestic monarchs into symbolic rulers, just like the Zhou king. The rigid, decaying old aristocratic system collapsed, giving rise to the free civilian group with knowledge and governance competence, the Shi scholar official stratum. Freed from fief restrictions, scholars traveled across various states to spread state governance theories and obtain official positions via professional knowledge, breaking the millennium-long official career monopoly inherited by aristocratic families. Unobstructed social mobility allowed ordinary civilians to improve social status through learning, creating fertile ground for the birth of multiple philosophical schools. Confucius established private schools to break the official monopoly over educational resources. Lao Tzu, Yan Ying, Zikan, and other thinkers emerged successively. Survival pressure and social reform demands in turbulent times triggered the first concentrated outbreak of Chinese ideological systems. Continuous interstate warfare accelerated technological progress in military craftsmanship, metallurgy, city construction, and water conservancy projects, steadily lifting overall social productivity. Turbulence objectively accelerated the evolutionary progress of China's entire social system. Traditional aristocratic groups gradually faded out, while Shi scholar officials stepped onto the political stage. The social tradition for Chinese people to advance through learning and competence took shape from this era. Chapter 6. Maibing Armistice, Conferences, and Late Spring and Autumn Landscape. Jing and Chu contested hegemony for 100 years, with successive wars draining population and material resources of all vassal states. Both empires faced hidden internal troubles caused by expanding ministerial clans, and neither side possessed the strength to completely annex the other. 2 Maibing Armistice conferences were held in history. The first conference in 579 BCE only achieved short-term peace, while the second conference in 546 BCE took real effect. Central Plains states divided spheres of influence. Jin and Chu shared regional hegemony, and large-scale wars across the Central Plains temporarily ceased. The intensity of warfare decreased in the middle and late spring and autumn period. Military campaigns were no longer focused on destroying states and massacring civilians, but became ritual expeditions to display national strength and force submission, still restrained by wartime rituals inherited from Western Zhou. Large-scale armed conflicts faded on the surface, yet internal power struggles intensified drastically. 6 aristocratic clans fought and annexed one another inside Jin, eventually leading to the disintegration of the state. The Tian clan of Qi won public support and seized state power to empty the rule of Qi's royal house. Wu and Yue rose abruptly in southeast China, and the rivalry between King Helu of Wu and King Gujian of Yue composed the final chapter of the spring and autumn period. After the Wu-Yue conflict ended, the centuries-old hegemon system completely collapsed. The partition of Jin and regime replacement in Qi reshaped the geopolitical layout of all states, bringing the era of large-scale annexation wars in the Warring States period close at hand. Maibing armistice treaties only brought phased peace. Clan power, seizure, and great state disintegration became mainstream trends, dooming the whole political order of the Spring and Autumn period to collapse. Chapter 7. Termination of Spring and Autumn, Prelude to the Warring States. In 476 BCE, King Goujian of Yue conquered Wu, marking the official end of the Five Hegemons era. The ritual framework sustaining the operation of ancient Chinese society fell apart completely, with moral norms, interstate covenants, and hierarchical rituals losing all mandatory binding force. The 300 years of unrest in the Spring and Autumn period cannot be simply defined as civilizational regression. This era abolished rigid, well-filled institutions, aristocratic hereditary privileges, and official monopoly over education, activated the productive value of land, opened upward social mobility, and bred embryonic forms of numerous philosophical schools. The Spring and Autumn period served as a vital transitional link, connecting history, past, and future. It inherited the spiritual heritage of Western Zhou ritual civilization and nurtured reform thoughts and unification ideologies for the Warring States period. Without the ideological liberation brought by the collapse of old orders in this era, there would be no prosperous 100 schools of thought movement, no top-down reforms in various states, nor sufficient social, ideological, and economic prerequisites for the founding of unified Qin and Han dynasties. The old historical era faded away gradually, and the Warring States period featured with centralized efficient governance and the pursuit of national unification officially commenced. The Spring and Autumn dismantled rigid, outdated institutions and bred a brand new civilizational core. All iterative reforms amid unrest accumulated indispensable preconditions for the regional integration of China in subsequent dynasties. Chapter 8. Correct the widespread public misunderstanding. The Spring and Autumn period was not a barbaric era with total ritual collapse, but a painful stage of independent innovation and self-correction for Chinese civilization. The long-term existence of the weak Zhou royal house restrained unlimited annexation and expansion of powerful vassal states, objectively, indirectly, preserving the integrity of overall Chinese culture. Three core civilizational legacies inherited from this era. First, the embryonic form of the scholar-bureaucrat system, formed by traveling scholars participating in state governance. Second, the popularization of private schools promoted the long-term development of nationwide basic education. Third, the vigorous development of diversified thoughts solidified Confucianism and Taoism, shaping the profound spiritual temperament of the Chinese nation. Two interactive topics for comment section, for general audiences and hardcore history fans separately. General topic: do you believe hegemonic wars launched by Spring and Autumn lords were essentially driven by personal expansion desire or a passive responsibility to manage public order in chaotic times? Academic topic: Duke Xiang of Song's chivalrous warfare is mocked as pedantry by later generations. From the perspective of early Spring and Autumn ritual norms, do you think his behaviors were reasonable under the historical background? Feel free to share rational discussions in the comment area. Our next episode will cover the complete history of the 7 warring states, elaborating on the partition of Jin, Tian clan's takeover of Qi, interstate reforms and conflicts, until the final unification of China by the Qin dynasty. Subscribe to the channel to watch the complete chronological Chinese history series from the Xie, Shang, Western Zhou, Eastern Zhou to Qin and Han dynasties. The next video will also compare institutional differences between Spring and Autumn vassal states and ancient Greek city-states.